again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. What's up, Broncos country, and welcome to the free agency edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS here at Orange Weekly. Jared, man, I texted you early today, and I was like, after I heard the news, I was like, we have to do a show tonight. Guys, we signed a punter. Guys, this is time to celebrate. So we are going to spend the next hour talking about the punter that we signed. If you guys didn't hear the news, I don't want to break it down too early. And so, yeah, that's kind of what we're going to, right?
Yeah.
No?
You know, last week, Kev, I texted you. I was like, yo, free agency's happening. A bunch of great signings on day one. We should do a Tuesday show. And he said, let's wait.
Let's wait till we sign a punter.
He said, I feel like there's something big happening. I feel like there's something really big coming, and we gotta wait for it. So let's do it next Tuesday. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Maybe you have some insider knowledge. And then today he's like, yo, it's happening. I told you something big was happening.
Going down.
And we got Riley Dixon back.
There he is.
So
Welcome back to Broncos country, Riley Dixon. No, but seriously, guys, we're going to break down all the free agency moves we made. We want to hear from you guys. What do you think? And we already are getting questions about, should we make other trades? And that, some of the conversation we'll have about that as we start getting ready for the draft, which is going to be here before you know it. I mean, we're already more than halfway through March, and it's flying by. So hopefully the rest of the offseason goes by. So let's rewind a week, guys. Free agent started last week. Jared, man, let's just start from there.
Let's start with this, Kev. I think it's been a long time since it's just been the two of us.
That's true.
It's been approximately since 2016, and I think it's only best, and maybe this is what got you so excited about the Riley Dixon, is that was when we drafted Riley Dixon, was in 2016.
Yep.
So it's just right that the two of us are doing this, and maybe a couple of the other guys will jump on a little bit later. I know that we had a couple guys that they might come in, but. Dude, 2016, I love it. Riley Dixon's back. Yeah, but let's go back. So the big news is that I'm sure you guys are all tracking, and I think because we did it a week after, we kind of missed the timeline on the breaking news. But we shored up our offensive line.
And
I think Sean Payton came in here. He knows he has a quarterback that can do the right things if he has the right protection. And that's what he did. That's the first thing he did in this free agency period. Not having a first-round draft pick, going out and shoring up with McGinley, and we waived Glasgow and Powers. Yeah, so I love the shoring up of the offensive line. I think McGinley is probably my favorite signing of the whole thing. I think a lot of people's is. And with those two offensive line additions, I think our offense has more protection for both the run game and the pass game. I will say this, and I know, again, we haven't had a show since, I think, our fan appreciation show, and we haven't really talked Broncos, but the news of Williams coming out, he might not be back, unfortunately. Looks like his timeline between coming back at the beginning of the season was looking bleak, and a chance that he might not be back to late season, which really sucks because, we're really excited to get him. But the run game being there is a big part for the Broncos offense. So I think shoring up the offensive line, definitely probably a great first step in the right direction with what we have. So yeah, that's what I got for the start. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, no, what you're seeing here, Jared, you know what we're seeing here? Because we've been bitching about offensive line problems for years. And now finally something's being done about it. People were saying from across the league, other reporters and kind of just insiders and stuff were saying that the Broncos got the best guard and the best tackle in free agency from their standpoint.
Yep.
And that says a lot.
The number one tackle. Yep.
What you're seeing here, Jared, is a team that has owners and owners with deep pockets. That's what this is. And this is not only showing that they want to make money, right, but that they want a winning team. All the concerns that I had are very quickly fading. Going back, we were always talking about, are we going to get owners that just want to make money and they don't really care about winning or getting championships, or are we going to get owners that understand the history of the Broncos and what the fan base demands from this organization? And are they going to be able to back up their words with actions? And I think so far you've seen nothing but actions backing up everything that they've said, right? So being able to sit here and say, we need to help Russ out. We know that this team is notorious for offensive line problems. We are finally going to do something about that. And they went out and they made it happen. Look, let's face it. The Broncos really were not 2 years ago, even were not a team that free agents wanted to come to. We're not a destination town, but I think, Jared, what you're seeing is the impact that good ownership is having on this team. And we're starting to turn things around, but that's where we're at, man.
Yeah. I'm interested in a couple aspects here. Mostly, we haven't made any trades, and I think I agree with you in the fact that I think people want to come here, but we're also throwing a lot of money at some of these guys that are free agents.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a big piece of it. Not a lot of big trades out there, which is I'm okay with. Right. We've already lost a lot of our draft capital in the last, the two big signings that we're talking about. Yeah, I'm interested to see. There's a lot of rumors out there about trading some big guys. And here's one thing I will say about having owners, is we're not trading people just to trade them. There's a lot of rumors going around that we're shopping around a couple wide receivers. Court and Judy being on the hot seat and all this other stuff, and there it is. Do we think we're going to trade Sutton? Here's the thing: is I think people have reached out, was like, "Hey, Broncos, I know you give up your people for pretty cheap. What you got for me?" And the owners are like, I ain't giving up you like a first round style wide receiver for nothing but a first round. And if you're not going to give me a first round, go pack sand. And that's where we're at, I think. And that's the cool thing. That's where I think with the ownership, I think there's a big level of that. But the other thing is having a head coach who has a vision, has been a head coach before, has a vision for what he wants, and is already out there getting the guys he needs. I'll be honest with you. I have cautious optimism for this season in the fact that we have him. But the cautiousness is he does have a group of players that he's kind of inherited. And I don't know where everyone's going to fit in. I thought Glasgow was a pretty decent offensive lineman, regardless of how everybody else feels about him. I think he did pretty well throughout the season, injuries aside. But however, I think, he just didn't fit into whatever Sean Payton wanted, and it was time for him to go. And it was like, cool, bye. And then we go on from there. So, I think the ownership piece is the more of the. Here's, I don't have my hibiscus here with my daughter's been playing with it, but I will say, man, I'll tell you what, I'm looking at these numbers that the Broncos are throwing around, and I know that there's a draft, like I know there's a cap on like things, and I looked at the cap at the beginning of the season and was like, okay, we got a decent cap, like we have cap space, and then all these signings, and I'm trying to do the math in my head. And I just can't feel. There's a reason I'm not like on the Broncos staff doing the accounting, because I really don't get it. And I think John put in our group chat. It's like, whose line is it anyway? It's like cap space. So like, yeah, everything's made up, and then
the points don't matter.
Like,
Yeah.
just figure it out. So yeah, that's interesting there. I we'll come back to some of these questions here in a second. Because I do have some points, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a ramble after Kevin's done talking here in a second, but going to go on a little bit of ramble about how Broncos country is getting. Look, we know we are getting upset, and Broncos country as a general. We have not made. I had this conversation with somebody at work today. A little frustrating. We have not made the playoffs since our Super Bowl win, and it's really difficult. It's really frustrating for all of us in Broncos country. And we need to win. Like it's no longer like we got to win the Super Bowl now. It's like, no, we need to do something to make the playoffs. And I get there's a lot of frustration, and I don't think it's we need to wipe the slate clean 100%. So again, we'll get to that point. But I just want to say before I get on my high horse after Kevin, I understand you. I understand where we're coming from. I understand the frustration. But yeah, Kev, let's go back to you. Talk a little bit more about what you think, and then I'll get on my high horse, and then we'll get to some of these questions.
Sounds good. Yeah. Looking at some of these other free agents, the offensive line, fantastic. A lot of people have been putting a lot of time and effort looking into and talking about Zach Allen as well. I think that's a huge pickup. We were talking about that before the show, Jared. And a bunch of our defensive players have already been in the Vance Joseph system, right?
Yes.
A couple of them were, on the team when Vance Joseph was head coach a couple of years ago. Zach Allen's coming over from Arizona. And so you have, I think, a really good connection to, what these guys are going to be doing. And it's not very different from what they've been doing to begin with, right? So that's another really big pickup, I think, for us. And then looking down the line, I think, maybe not big names, but I think smart moves, Perrine is going to be an interesting one, as we were talking about with Williams, to see kind of what role he plays. And then tight end Chris Manhertz as well. Think he has a total of 57 receiving yards in his career. Like Broncos fans complain about offensive line. And then we've been complaining about tight ends and blocking tight ends. And why can't we find a blocking tight end, right? Okay, here you go. This guy's job is to block. Okay, it should be, it's labeled a tight end, but that's not what he's not out there to catch, footballs. In fact, I think I heard somebody joking around. They're like, if you did pass him the ball, he might just swat it out of the air out of just, habit, because that's what he does, in terms of blocking and stuff like that. So anyway,
on that note, we talked about getting a blocking tight end. We got a fullback again. We have reshored offensive line. We have we signed the running back from Cincinnati, I believe. Yeah,
and they offered him the same amount of money that we did, and he still chose us.
And here's the big part about that is like, hey, look, we're gonna go to run first, and we're going to go to run for. We got a fullback, a blocking tight end, and two run type offense. Like run first and get him into play action. Like I'm already liking the idea. Like I said, he's going out and he's getting what's going to fit his system, and that's the best part about this whole thing. I think that's where I'm going for.
Yeah. Ray, thank you. I got a study up on how to pronounce all the new names. I'm sure there's going to be others, but is it Pirine or is it Perrine?
It looks like P. Ryan to me.
P. Ryan. Okay, P. Ryan. Tomato. Whatever you want to say, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
We still don't know how to. Yeah, I was about to say. I was about to say. We still don't know how to say Okawabenam. So
yeah, 90% of people still don't know how to do it. So there you go. Okay, so I guess overall, we'll hand it over to you, Jared. But look, a lot of other conversation we're going to have in a minute, guys, in terms of answering your questions and whatnot. But I think looking at this free agency, you've seen an ownership group and a general manager with you want to say new head coach, new to the Broncos head coach, that are smart and aggressive. And if that translates to how they are on the field, smart and aggressive, okay, I like this. I like where this is going. So early returns are looking good, but that's where I'm at, man.
I like the idea that you could already tell you've seen Sean Payton as a head coach. You know what his philosophies are. Something that we've been begging for a while is we're not a shotgun throw it all around type team. Let's get some play action. Let's get some ground and pound. Get some play action. Get Russ out of the pocket. Get him with the linebackers pulled up because of the fear of the run game. And I think that's what we're going to see, and that's what we're going to go with. Now, I'm ready for my 5 minutes of fame. All right, and it's not fame. It's bad. Here we go. See, now you can see that I'm in my bedroom. Okay, let's just do this.
Yes.
Okay.
Not in the closet
So
anymore.
I'm not in the closet. I'm to the bedroom. Yeah. Okay. So here's my little bit of a soapbox here. Broncos country. I know we're frustrated, but we really need to get out of hating on our own players. And you know, I do like that everybody wants to get better in certain positions, and I know I'm not trying to call you out, but I'm going to the comment about like getting rid of Judy. Like, we need to get rid of him. Here's the thing. One thing with the wide receivers I'm going to say is no head coach coming into this team is going to look at their players and be like, yeah, no, I don't need three first round caliber wide receivers because we got Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, and Jerry Jeudy. I don't need all three of them. Whoever wants them, come take them. Right? That's not a system that's going to work. So here in that aspect, here's what I'm thinking. We need to stop hating on our own players and say, trade this guy, get rid of this guy. The other one that I saw on Twitter that was really frustrating to me, and I think it started frustrating Caden Stearns a little bit, is when everybody wanted to go pick up that Philadelphia safety. Now, I get it. He signed somewhere else. But like the Twitter and social media accounts are all like, oh, we have to have that. We have such a gap there. We have such a gap. There's such a huge gap. We have to get this safety. We have to get the safety. It's like, do we though? Like, poor Caden Stearns sitting on the sideline like, I did pretty well last year, man. Like, I thought I did all right. Now, getting a backup, fine. But I think Caden Stearns, for I think a 5th-round draft pick out of Texas, is doing a pretty dang good job in that aspect. So I always say this, and now I know what you're going to say. For some of you guys who have been watching the show for a while, I am a homer. I do understand that, and I do believe that our guys are better than other people, and it's 100% blue and orange goggles. And I get that. However, there's also a level of, if you're a Bronco, you're a Bronco. And I'm going to support you because I think, first of all, you're an athlete out there doing something for our entertainment, and I definitely appreciate that. So we got to be a little bit nicer to some of our players on Instagram and Twitter. Like, Jerry Jeudy's not trash. He's one of the top wide receivers, I think, in the league. And there's no way we're going to get rid of any of those guys because you have 3 start number 1 quality wide receivers out there to catch balls for a Russell Wilson who's going to have time now because we shored up the offensive line and we're going to have a run game to support it. So that's where I'm going. I love our Broncos. I love every Bronco that's ever been a Bronco. Wish them well, except for the ones that left us for the money and then decide to come back and be a backup and not do very well. Osweiler. But other than that, I like everybody else. Everybody else is doing really good jobs. So yeah, there's some people out there, and really we have a lot of every year we're gonna have gaps. Every year we have places that we're gonna need to get better in, and I think the one place that we haven't identified, unless Miners moves to center, which I guess he did pretty well at the end of the season, is center. I like Cushenberry. I feel like he got injured early last season, and I think that he needs some time to grow as a football player in the NFL because I think he did really well in college. But we'll see what happens at that aspect. Other than that, defensive line, shoring it up. I know we lost Draymond Jones, which is unfortunate, and we'll get to that, Kev. In signing
Zach Allen
from coming
Arizona.
over with his defensive coordinator
Yep.
to play in that defensive line, who's I think the number 2 run stopper in the league, which is great. So we're shoring up a defensive line. I will say, I think right now, if I were to say it, and I wish David was here because I was about to give him some props, but he's not here, so I'm not giving him props for it. Edge rusher, I think we still might need a little bit of work in the edge rushing towards the end of the season. I know a lot of us were really worried, and a lot of us got really frustrated at the idea of we're just not getting pressure on the quarterback like we need to, right? Yeah. I think we need to get some pressure on the quarterback. But yeah, that's my soapbox. Just get off of. Stop coming at our players, man.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not, I don't boo at the games, I get why people do it. I understand, but I'm not one to do it because we're the home team. Like, look, the players know when they're not doing well. The scoreboard reflects that. They don't need the fans booing, right? So it's the same principle when I get on that soapbox of, guys, support your team when they're only down by a little bit. Maybe they're not having a good day, but don't be booing them because there's that home field advantage. It's gone. You know, all their.
And here, what I'll say, CJ Gardner, Everything Broncos podcast. By the way, go follow these guys. They're awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple.
Yeah.
Of guys
Hey,
podcasts.
thanks for
you guys are doing really
tuning in, guys.
Thanks for watching and coming. I agree. I think the initial thought process was, hey, bring him over because he's played with Sean Payton before. He likes playing for Sean Payton. Bring him over for that. The problem is it kind of evolved into this like anti-Caden Stearns like.
We don't have anyone there.
It was like a clickbait thing. I'm not sure what it was,
right.
But it kind of evolved from a, hey man, it'd be really nice to have a top quality safety, and he's one of the top safeties in the league, specifically in the strong safeties position, into a oh my god, we're so weak in this position, we have to have this guy, and I don't know how that evolution happened, but I kind of feel bad for Caden Stearns sitting on Twitter reading in the morning like, y'all hate me.
Yep.
This is how we lose guys like Caden Stearns who no longer want to play for us because we're not supporting him.
Yeah, and I think people assume that, you know, the players aren't gonna see their comments, but they do, in fact, it's a big deal when celebrities or athletes go off of social media, and it's a big thing like, oh, what? How are you doing this? So they're on there, they read these comments, and it might be a factor of just not being on a winning team too. You just don't get that recognition that, players that maybe are not as good as you, but were on winning teams get more highlights. They get more attention.
Right.
And so I think, if what Caden Stearns did this last year and the way he stepped up, that's the type of player that you can also develop into a leader on the team. That guy is going to answer the call. That's a guy that, you develop and you put a lot of support behind him, because when you need something done, he'll go find a way to get it done. You know what I mean? But so I have mad respect for him, and I think it's great. And we can continue to build him and keep him on the team and support him. I think you're going to see a lot more good things out of him, and people are going to be like, oh, maybe it's a good thing we didn't get rid of him.
Yeah. All right, Kev, I think we're way behind on comments. So let's do some halftime hash style, comment roll up, right? So first of all, thank you, Clayton. Clayton, appreciate the stars. Thank you so much. Thank you for being such a great supporter. All right. Going to be nice to have an experienced returner in Tremont Smith. No disrespect to Washington, maybe a little. Look, Washington's still our speedster.
Yeah.
Right? We still brought him in to be a speed guy. I don't think we're losing Washington, although Tremont Smith was a good pickup. I'll just be honest.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm worried about Washington having a spot on this team. I think he might be on that bubble and getting pushed down to the practice squad. He had the opportunities. He flashed. I know preseason is preseason, but he flashed. He showed that he had the potential.
Season, he had some good returns.
He did, but he was just so inconsistent.
Well, here's the thing, Kev. We went from having the 32nd, like the worst return rate in the league, to something better, and a lot of that was on Washington being able to. But you're right. There was a couple, and he was a rookie. There was a lot of missed.
Yeah. So I'm giving him.
He was a little bit inconsistent, but we'll see. I'm interested. You're right. I think honestly, it's going to come down to Washington and who is that? Tremont Smith.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be between those two. We'll see what happens, but we are deep at wide receiver. We're very deep at wide receivers.
Well, you also got to think about the fact that, and I know we're going speed style on these, but this goes into conversation of special teams and how we finally have a special teams coach that makes sense. That is a good special teams coach. And the idea that Patrick Surtain can't do anything other than his role, being a corner, being his job at defense. Yeah. Okay, put him out there on special teams. We're going to see some more of those things to bolster the return game, and you might see in that Washington take advantage of that opportunity and do well, right? So I think that's going to be more of an interesting battle to watch throughout preseason and training camp, because either way, I think we're going to be looking really good there, hopefully.
All right. Meisner to center, Miners to center, Reisner to right guard. I like it. I'm interested to see. I think during preseason, I think you're going to see a lot of different options and different moving around to kind of figure out where guys are the most comfortable. And there's probably conversations going on in that offensive line locker room or even when we got signed some of these guys, like, hey, nope, I'm going to come and I'm going to play right tackle. I'm going to play left tackle, whatever the case is. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But I think honestly, after in the back end of the season, Miners earned his center position.
Yeah. And for me, I don't want there to be much moving around by the time we get to preseason. By the time we get to preseason games, I want that offensive line to be set because I want them to get as much playing time in those positions as possible. Now, if there's a time or two we move somebody to try it out, okay, but I don't want us going into the season, trying to build, an offensive line essentially from scratch because it's like, okay, we finally decided on where everyone's going to be. So, use the practices, use the training camp to figure that out and then implement it in the games as soon as possible so that you're not starting from absolute ground zero on game one.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to that. Kathleen, thanks for joining us.
You said
Ray,
Kathleen.
That's what it says, Kathleen.
She
Kathleen.
loves being called Kathleen. She loves it.
Well, her name's Kathleen.
I know. It's fair. I don't know why she didn't change it. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, change it on Facebook if you don't want to be called that, Kathleen. Since this is happening. I'm going to get hate mail after this, aren't I?
Nope.
All right. All right. Hey, Tracy, thanks for joining us.
Tracy.
All right, Clayton. Almost reminds me before we went into the Super Bowl, we killed free agency in the draft, and bam, we won the Super Bowl. High hopes for Super Bowl this year, and we'll pump the brakes a little bit. You're right, but you're right. There was a big off season, and that was the first Super Bowl I think that we lost a big time. No, it was the second Super Bowl we had first time head coach. I do remember that, and we won it, and then he stayed. I think he was.
We didn't fire. I thought we fired Fox after 48.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Super Bowl 50?
Someone's going to correct me. Yeah.
When are you? Yeah, 50?
50 was... Anyways, we'll come back to it.
No, that was the second year because we fired Fox after Super Bowl 48.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Every year, we don't have 100% of our core. Hopefully, we can keep them healthy. Yeah, 100%. I think health was a big factor in this past season. 100% with you.
On wood.
Chris Stern and Locke should fight for the starting job. Both play great. I love
Fisticuffs.
it.
Fisticuffs.
Maybe not fisticuffs. Maybe just like on the field. Like maybe just like
slap battle?
Fight on the field.
Okay.
Ray, thanks for joining us. Stearns just needs a chance to show out for full games. If he's not getting it by the end of the trade deadline, then all bets are off. Okay, give him a chance to be the starter for a while. Make sure that he's doing his things. I do think he's ready for a full games. I think when he was in there, he was playing pretty well. There was a couple little issues, but I think he was young and doing the thing. So, yeah. Jerry, thanks for joining us. Glad we have a coach now. Yep, 100%. I think that's a big part a lot of people are worried about. All right. Everything Broncos podcast. I got you guys already. We've already gotten a lot better since last year at this time. I agree. I think we're in a better position. I think we had high hopes last season with the new young head coach, and it kind of fizzled real quick. But I think we're making the moves in the offseason knowing we don't have draft capital. I think that's another piece of it too. Knowing we don't have draft capital, we got to spend the money. It sounds like Walmart's not afraid to spend the money. And
but we're also not panicking. We're not panicking. We know that George Payton loves to collect as many draft picks as possible. You don't see us, like you were saying earlier, Jared, you don't see us trading away players just to get extra, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks and losing those pieces of the team that we have already in place, right? So you see an organization that's being smart and aggressive, but not panicking as well. Yes, we're going to be down draft picks this year, and it's going to affect us next year. But this is going to take time to build up. And the other good thing is, that Coach Payton isn't going to be fired at the end of the season. He's here, at least 3 years, guys. So, we have that time and that continuity now to look ahead and say, okay, here's where we're going.
Yep, 100%. Christopher, we haven't mentioned this. Yeah, we re-signed Alex Singleton. I love that. I think he's a great run stopper in the middle. I do like that idea. I do still think that we need more inside linebackers, and I will say that.
Can never have enough.
I don't know. Probably until we're done with Orange Weekly or I'm kicked off. One of those two.
Are we ever going to be done with Orange Weekly?
That's why I said or kicked off. I feel like one of those two things are going to happen. I'm going to be here until you kick me off, man.
Not going to happen.
But yeah, I still would like some more inside linebackers, but I do like the Alex Singleton. I think he played very well. He's definitely a good run stopper. He's very smart. He's very intelligent on the inside. So I like that re-sign. Okay, Ray, this is interesting. I want to, I think we're good at halfback, at our running back position. I think we're good at wide receiver. I think we're deep at wide receiver.
When Williams comes back, we'll be better at running back. Wide receiver, I don't have any problems with right now.
Yeah, offensive line, I agree. I think some depth there would be interesting. I think that's something that we're going to get in the late rounds of drafts. I think that's what we're going to go with. Defensive line, I agree. I think that we need some pass rushers, guys that are going to get some pressure on the quarterback. Run stoppers are great, but we're in the AFC West, and if nobody's noticed, the AFC West is a pass heavy league. So
let me ask you this: do you think Randy Gregory's the answer?
For what? To pass rush?
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is that the injuries, right? We got to think about that, and I think if he's fully healthy all season, maybe. I know towards the end of the season, we had nobody that was getting pressure on the quarterback, and I think Randy Gregory can be that guy if he stays healthy. But I don't think one guy is going to make the difference between.
Well, no, okay, maybe not the way I phrased that question. The answer, but is he a guy we can count on to be in that position for?
Yeah. When he's in the game,
years.
Absolutely. When he's in the game, now I don't think he's a Von Miller. I don't think he's a guy that you're looking at and you're like, okay, we got to double this guy up or else he's going to get. But I feel like there's a level of like defenses or offenses are going to have to game plan against him. I think that's going to be a piece when he's in the game. Now he's
can
also
he stay healthy?
Can he stay healthy, and is he going to be on a snap count? Are we going to be able to use him only on third and longs? We don't know. Or are we going to be able to? Because in this league, like I said, especially in the AFC West, it's no longer a passing down. Like 3rd and 10 is the only passing down. Like it's not that way anymore. You're talking, the people are taking shots early. So we'll go there. Defensive end's going to shine more. We're going to do more man-to-man. Let our linebackers and linemen get after that quarterback. I hope so. Like I said, Clayton, I 100% think that we need some more pressure to the quarterback. We got great run stoppers, guys that can fill their gaps. Now is it guys that can get in and penetrate into the quarterback? I don't know. All right, let's see. Drake Kliss reported that our quarterback coach met with the Penn State quarterback today. Wonder if he's worthy of a day 3 pick. There's a possibility. I think getting Stidham kind of not puts a nail in the coffin for getting a 3rd round quarterback or drafting a quarterback, but I think it kind of does. I think Sean Payton likes Stidham and wants him to come be a backup, and I think that's where we're going to go for that one. Caden Stern's a great young and up and comer. Absolutely love it. And then back to Drake. For the record, I love Penn State, and I think that quarterback does a really good job, and I think he is going to go in the 4th, 5th round. I just don't see with the signings that we made him being, unless we draft him and put him on a practice squad, which would be interesting to me. That's just we're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster.
Nope.
Nope. I'll talk about Stern. What about Locke? Yep, Chris, that's my fault. He played a lot when Stern was hurt. Yep, I do. I think PJ Locke did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here we go. Let the O-line gel.
Keith. He understands.
Appreciate it, brother. He understands.
I didn't even have to. That's what I was like, I want to say the word, but I didn't say the word because we say it all the time. But Keith just understands what I was saying.
Out there
he understands.
So proud.
He understands us. He understands who we are as a crew. Thanks, man. You're awesome.
All right. I don't know what I said. No, I don't. Don't.
She doesn't like
your
Kathleen.
Name.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah, you don't like your name. That's okay. I agree. I 100% agree with this one. You're a butt. All right. Oh, Kubiak. Kubiak was the head coach.
But yeah, so it was the second year that, anyway.
Yeah, so he was fired after Super Bowl 49. Gary Kubiak came in, first year Broncos head coach. And
I
then
could have
we ended up winning
sworn
Super Bowl
Fox
50.
was fired after 48. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's 100% what I'm doing. I got to, not only that, but I'm old school.
Orange
Crush, baby. Orange
You
Crush.
know, those were during the 70s. Those were just like impossible to find in Colorado. Like cases of Orange Crush. It was just, they're flying off the shelves all the time. Anyway, okay, where are we at there, Jared? I can pick it up.
So
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I wasn't paying attention and poured too much.
Okay. Jerry, 100% DB4L. Let's see. Clayton, thoughts on the draft? Oof. So just in terms of stay put, move up, or move back. Look, I think at this point, if we were going to trade, say, Judy for a draft pick, we would have done it by now. Take the reports for what they are. The reports were saying that multiple teams were offering first rounders. Even if one team was offering a first rounder and they wanted to move on from Judy, they would have taken it. So I don't see us doing anything to really move up in this year's draft.
I'm going to counter that.
Counter?
I think the counter is if we put enough draft capital into Judy by telling everybody and leaking that we're not accepting anything other than a first round, and then draft day comes around and we see someone fall to where we want, he might be trade bait. Now, I don't want it, right? Again, I told you I'm a homer and I want all these guys to stay and be successful together.
Yeah.
But there's a chance, right? There's a little bit of a play here where we say, nope, we're not accepting anything but a first round. Nope, we're not accepting anything for a round. And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, we'll trade our first rounds and we'll give you a second round and Jerry Jeudy, third round and give you a Jerry Jeudy, and give me your first round.
Yeah.
Right, to a wide receiver needy team.
True. Okay, let me ask you this. Don't need a name, but what position would you feel needs to be available for the Broncos to say that's what we need, or is it just based off the player? Or are we targeting a position where, hey, it's that guy and that position, we're gonna go get him? Like, are we desperate where it's like we have got to find a way to get someone in this position?
I have my personal preferences, but here's the problem. Here's the other thing is Sean Payton has what his guys that he's going to want.
Yeah.
And it's not a cop out. That's not a cop out. Like,
no, I know.
We did a really good job of shoring up the offensive line.
Yeah.
With who we have, getting Garrett Bowles back is going to be huge.
Oh God, yeah.
Can
you imagine us saying that 5 years ago and being serious about it? Dude, I would have laughed. I've been like, no, you're not going to say that. You're going to be. That's a joke, right?
I remember. Like, I don't know if it was an episode or whatever, but we were talking about Garrett Bowles and being like, man, it's so sad that we lost him for the season. It's a huge loss for us. And I remember like that night, like after the show, after everything was done, I remember going to bed and be like, remember when like for like a year, everyone called him Garrett Holds. And everybody just wanted him gone, and it was like the most ridiculous thing. And he's just come such a long way, and I love it. But yeah, no. So maybe offensive line, if that's what he's going for, if he doesn't like who he wants. But I think our weakness right now, even all being healthy, is the pass rush. Yeah. And again, not a dig on anybody, not a like, oh, we're gonna be terrible, but I think our pass rush, some inside linebackers, or even just some guys that we can send in every once in a while, like do some stunts and stuff. We're far removed from the Von Miller days that we're used to on the defensive line, and really what it comes down to Sean Payton and what he wants for the offense. You're right. Ultimately, I don't see us trading up unless it's something that Sean Payton's like, I have to have this guy because he's going to fit so well into my system that it's not even funny, like a Christian McCaffrey or like a Saquon Barkley or something like that, right? Yeah. Like somebody that's coming out of the draft that he's seen on tape and been like, that is my dude. He's going to be a Bronco forever, and I got to get him.
That's my guy.
But you're right. Yeah, that's my guy. All right.
Cool.
I'm scrolling down. Where are we at?
More stars from Clayton. Sir, you are a scholar and a gentleman. Of course, everybody out there, do not feel like you have to donate at all. However, we do demand that you donate. So, do it now. I'm just kidding. Really? Do it? No, seriously, do not. If you want to send stars, please do. That's fantastic. Another free way to support us, other than just watching and commenting, is going to find us on the podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast, giving us a 5-star review. That helps us out tremendously. Hitting that share button, hitting that like button, that helps us out in the algorithms, and it's, all that stuff that we can't control. So if you just want to spend 2 seconds hitting that button for us, guys, that helps out a ton. So Clayton, thank you very much. Jerry, Alex is a monster. I am really excited to see what he comes back. After he gets recognized, I think he's the type of player you're not going to see him slide backwards. I don't think.
He's just consistent, and that's the best part about him. He's not flashy. He's not like the guy that's gonna make the big stop. But like, I'll tell you what, like sometimes you just need that guy that's gonna stop him at 2 yards. That's all you need. You need every play stopped at 2 yards on defense. You're a winning defense. Oh, God, and that's what he is. That's what he is. He has tackles for losses too, and he somehow finds the space to be able to get into where the running back or whoever's going to go into, and that's what you need. It's not flashy. It's not special. It's like he hits him at the line, maybe gets 2 yards because, shit, man, I could fall forward like this and get 3 yards. Yeah, but he figures out a way to stop it. So yeah, I do like Alex Singleton. I like his signing. Gregory, Chris says not the answer. However, thinks Browning is, and I forgot about Baron Browning, and I forgot that his injury and all the other stuff. And man, we were just so injured last year that it's hard to look back on the end of last year and be like, man, we have so many holes, and be like, oh, I forgot that like 90% of them were on injured reserve. Yeah. So I do like Browning. I do think Browning has a long way to come. I don't think he could be the guy by himself, but I think that eventually with somebody on the other side. Browning's not a guy offenses go into and be like, okay, we got to figure out a way to stop this guy yet. And I hope he becomes that, because I believe he has the potential.
What I think you're going to see across the board is players being elevated, because that ties into a successful coach. And we've seen what Sean Payton has done in the past. His reputation is fantastic. He has no problem calling out anybody for their crap. Okay. If there's a problem with penalties, you can bet that it's getting addressed. Not in front of the cameras, maybe not on the sideline, but it is getting addressed. That pushing and shoving stuff that we saw last year, man, that would not fly. In zero circumstance would that fly. Broncos fans have already been called out for counting down the clock. It was kind of a dig at, the situation that the team was in. But, if the fans are not, supporting the team, Sean Payton's the coach that will call out the fans on TV and say, that's, we need more support. We need better support from the fans. So, that transparency, I think, is key. And you're going to see that translate to less penalties and players elevating their game, because they're going to want to play harder for a coach. And he's going to be able to bring more out of them by understanding their playing style and incorporating that into the system.
Yeah, and I think the best thing that he does is finds a player's best ability and puts him in a position to make that best ability play for the team. And in any position, we're talking football now, but think about any leadership position. Like, the best leaders are someone who can find someone's best qualities, put them in a position that they're going to succeed the most. And I think that's something that he does. So, yeah. All right, so we got some pretty good young corners, less penalties though, Clayton. Yeah, I agree. And I'll tell you what, man, like some of those, the NFL in general has gone away from good defense. And I'll say that as an offensive guy. I have an offensive mind. That's where I'm at. I will admit when like sometimes the NFL is just like too much on the offensive side, like to keep the ball moving and keep games interesting. Like I think our we have very I don't think it's that. I think it's just like, yeah, I mean in general, like more higher scoring games get more viewers, right? That's kind of how it goes. And but I will say I think our corners are physical.
Yep.
Last year they were, right? And under Vance Joseph they were as well, but when he was the head coach here. So I think our corners are physical. They're going to stay physical. And I still think Pat Surtain's the best corner in the league. And I think having him for the next couple of years is going to be amazing. And there's no doubt about that.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, happy birthday, Clayton.
Happy birthday, man.
We're on live now, though. Happy birthday, big dog.
Ready? Happy. I'm not going to sing.
I was finding out the way there we go. A little late. I was trying to get there. All right. Chris says we got to move back for an outside linebacker. Yeah, probably edge rusher there, Chris.
Okay.
Judy finally started to live up to his draft pick. I do think.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I honestly think we have such a great wide receiver room. Like, why move on from one of them? Like we have three. You have three starting wide receivers on the field at all times. And then let's not forget Hamler, who's been gone all season. KJ Hamler has been like a speedster that's just been gone all season because of injuries. And if he can stay healthy, I mean, all this is dependent on health, right? And he's been injured, kind of injury prone last couple seasons, unfortunately. But man, I just like to see that. Like, I just like to see him stay healthy and be able to use him. I think we have a deep wide receiver room, and I think we need to keep it. I think Judy's been playing really well, and Sutton does too. And it's one of those things that defenses have to worry about both of them. If we can get the ball to them, which is why we shored up the offensive line. Tracy, we love you too. Thank you, Tracy.
You're awesome.
Another speedy wide receiver. We got Washington and KJ Hamler this year, so that's kind of going to be our interesting look. KJ Hamler with the injury prone, I guess you could say, and then Washington, who really didn't get a lot of snaps at wide receiver till the end of the season when all the injuries happened, but not much. We didn't get to use him much because we didn't really have the time, and Russ at the end of the he was not delivering the ball where he needed to, and I think that
not to the last couple games. Possibly. Yeah.
Garrett Holds No More. Yep, I love it. The center from Wisconsin. I think getting an extra center in here would be great. I think Lloyd Cushenberry being injured was rough. I think he's going to battle for. That's going to be another one as we go into the preseason. We'll have a couple episodes before we talk about that. But as we go into the preseason, some of the battles I'm looking forward to watch is that center position, and whether it's between him and Miners or between him and maybe a draft pick. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I can't with Vance Joseph, Mr. Confused being back. Great practices. That's all I remember from Vance Joseph. Let's see. I need another solid inside linebacker. Josie Jewell. He and Singleton. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I like the inside linebacker, but they're both great run stoppers. They're both they just know where to be to get the 2 to 3 yard stop. But we're in a different league, and going in the nickel all the time is great, and having them do the run stop is great in the nickel. But it'd be nice to have somebody that could get in there and be able to tackles for losses or be able to go out in coverage, which I don't think either one of them does very well. So I'm interested to see how Vance Joseph does that as we go into it.
I think we're gonna. I want to say be surprised, but I think this defense is going to exceed expectations. I think across the board, I think people are going to look at this defense, maybe because of just the last 6-7 years. In terms of the record and everything, but I think we're going to be able to really step up, and this defense I think is going to. One of the big things is the turnover ratio, right? And so I think we're going to find a way, man. Things are just going to be better with this defense, and that's just going to help the offense out that much more. So I'm excited about it. I know having Vance Joseph back is kind of cringy. I get it, but I think we're going to be okay. I do.
Yeah, I mean, and I think even when he left, I feel like the general consensus was he's a great defensive coordinator, but a bad head coach. So getting him back as a defense coordinator is kind of a win-win for everybody. And
it is.
And maybe I need to do the research to find out how many of these players played in that Vance Joseph system. I'm not sure where we're at with how many of these Broncos defense played with Vance Joseph now, because we're, I guess, 3 years removed from that, right? Because we had 2 years of Vic Fangio, 1 year of Hackett. From what we know, he was a player's coach, and everybody loved him, and everybody played hard for him, and the defense was good. Like, let's be honest, since Super Bowl 50, our defense has been great. Yeah. Like, there's not been a year that we weren't top, 10 in the past the whole time. So I like the Vance Joseph hire, and I think that the defense is going to play for him. That's really what it comes down to. Okay, let's see. Christopher, I'm actually interested in this too. We'll talk about this more in our, maybe post-draft, post-draft show. But every year we keep a free agent, undrafted free agent. Every year we keep one. We're going to keep that system rolling.
The cool thing is, year after year, we don't do it just because it's become a tradition. We do it because we find good talent there.
Yeah.
That's what boggles my mind.
About it is those undrafted free agents go like Shelby Harris and some of those guys, like they go on and they end up making a decent amount of money because they show out and they do what they need to do, end up becoming starters or whatever. Who was it? Who was our undrafted free agent last year? Do you remember?
Ooh, I'd have to look.
Yeah, I'm about to Google. I've had too much Orange Crush. All right, well, you Google. I'm going to keep going. Team Visor this year. Thank you, Tracy. 100% Team Visor. I'm going to start a counter. Kevin, remind me of this later. I'm going to start a counter on how many times we see Coach Payton with a visor and how many times we see him with a puffball.
Sounds good.
Every episode, I'm going to keep the counter updated so that we understand where we are on Team Visor versus Team Puffball.
I like
All
it.
Right. Mm-hmm. 100% agree. Kevin, man, we're way behind. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's see. First catch was 50-yard bomb.
Jalen Virgil. I think, Jalen Virgil was the one from last year.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I don't think he's sticking around. He played okay.
He played okay, but still, it's not that we brought him onto the roster because, this is what we do every year now,
Yeah,
so.
No. All right, when do we plan on having our next show? I don't think we've scheduled it, Clayton, but as soon as we do, we'll get back to you. I think me and Kev got to sit down and we got to figure out our whole summer off season. Both of us been super busy, unfortunately, so we got to sit down and figure out our off season. I'm sure we're gonna do a trivia night at some point here in the next couple months at least, and then we'll have a pre/post draft show. Since we don't have a first round, we won't be doing a first round. Normally, we'll do sit in the first round till the Broncos pick.
That's what we're. We go live when the draft starts, and we stay live until the Broncos pick. Yeah, so we're gonna go live when the draft starts, and we're gonna be live through when the Broncos pick.
If anybody's
come on, man, that was the deal.
If anybody's seen the show Parks and Rec, that's exactly what it's going to be like with the 24-hour. Like, we're just going to be getting random people, and he'll be like, and this is how you carve a snake into a piece of wood. And
I'll go grab a twig. I'll go grab a twig and carve out a snake. 4 a.m. That's the 4 a.m. programming, man. I love it. But yes, we will do something.
So Sean's worried about Riley Dixon coming back. Kev, how do you feel about that?
Look, anytime we sign a punter, man, it is great news. Look, I think we should have kept him to begin with. We lost him over $1 million, which is not a lot. He did well enough. I think he's an improvement over our punter from last year. Not by much, but I think a little more consistent. We liked him before.
I don't know. I agree. I thought Waitman did okay, man. Like,
he did okay,
he did pretty well. Like, I don't think that there wasn't that big of a difference to make up the money change. And it's interesting to see that we brought him. I kind of agree with Sean, not like a, oh my God, I can't believe we brought him back, but more of like Waitman, poor dude. Like he did pretty well. Like he was, I think he only had like maybe one or two bad.
Do you think it could just be for a punter battle and see who does better throughout training camp and stuff, and then we go with whoever the better one is?
I mean, maybe, but I think we signed him to a contract.
Okay, but we didn't.
You know what I mean?
I think cut Waitman.
No, I mean, I don't think we cut him, but I think we signed the other guy to a contract. Like, we have to pay that contract regardless.
It's only like a couple million.
Kev.
What's the problem? That's like nothing. That's like.
I know in the grand scheme of things of NFL, I just never, like, it just took me a second to realize, like, that, like it's just, like, we sign him and cut him. It's just a couple million. Like, no big deal. Like,
it's not like Russell Wilson, like,
things.
where we have, like, $1 billion in dead cap space money if we cut him, like. Hey, guys, the Broncos are bowing out this year because we literally cannot afford any other players because we cut Russell Wilson. So we forfeit the 2023 season. Yeah. Okay, Keith, thank you. They released Waitman. Okay, so there you go. Ignore me.
Oh, they did release. We did release Waitman.
I was wrong.
I missed it. That's unfortunate because I think Waitman was pretty well.
Yeah.
Or pretty good. Like, I think he didn't do anything that like really was like, oh, we need a new punter, right? Like, I thought he was kicking pretty well. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wade Phillips, good DC, bad head coach. Yeah, there's a couple coordinators out there that are good coordinators, bad head coach. Also, can we just take a second? I'm so far behind on comments. We might be here all night, Kev. We only got we might be all night. Can we just take a second and sit here and say, like, if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers,
which
the
they
New
will.
The New York Packers get Aaron Rodgers. All those rumors about getting Hackett to get Rodgers, all that crap is going to come back out. I don't know if they're correct.
I think they're correct. It's going to come
back up.
I think they're correct. I think that was the plan. It just validates it. And you're right. That's not a validation. I think it is.
No,
it happened the very next year.
Process.
You're talking about of all the teams that could have hired Hackett and of all the teams that could have gotten Aaron Rodgers. That happens to be the New York Packers.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference is if he's willing to accept whatever the Jets are willing to trade for him, if he's willing to be like, yep, I'm going there as long as the Packers are cool with it, and he wasn't willing to do it for Denver, that means that I'm not saying that he wasn't. I don't think there was a chance of him being like, nah, I don't want to go to Denver. I don't think that. I think there was a level of like, the Broncos got in Hackett thinking he was a young offensive mind and not thinking that they were going to get Rodgers. And then when the Packers was like, hey, you want Rodgers? They were like, what's your asking price? And they're like, 13 first-round picks. And they're like, kick rocks, dude. Like, I think that's what probably happened. As opposed to the other way around. And then New York was like, we'll take Hackett and Rodgers, and we'll give you the world.
I don't give you the world.
Like, that some Aladdin crap. I can show you the world. We're both singing now on our shows. All right. I'm going to push by skipping all puffball comments.
Yep. That's fair.
Let's see. Chris is angry at me, probably. Let's see.
It's probably me.
Chris says that both punters are on the team. It'll be a fight for starting, but I think somebody else
Everything Broncos podcast said they rescinded the tender.
Okay, yeah. So. Yeah, here we go. Look, everyone's mad.
Only $1 million?
Only $1 million? Only a couple million.
That's nothing.
Yeah, so it looks like the tender was the tender was taken back on Wayman, which is fine. Yeah. We're caught up finally. Okay. I love this, Keith. I love this comment, and I'm here for it 100%.
All day.
I'm here. Guys, let's go. Let's take a flashback. Let's take a time back, way back machine. back to the time when Josh McDaniels was hired as the Denver Broncos head coach and got rid of all of our starting talent and pissed off Jay Cutler, pissed off everybody. And now we get to watch him implode the Raiders, and I am here for all of it. And
so speaking of looking back, how he pissed off Plummer or Cutler and everyone. Remember how Derek Carr said that he was not going to accept a trade from the Raiders. He wasn't going to allow it as part of the no movement or no trade clause. He said, You're going to have to cut me. I think some people are like, oh, what a douche move. I'm like, no, I think that's his way of getting back at McDaniels because I'm sure McDaniels has absolutely pissed him off. So I actually, for once, I don't blame Derek Carr for being a little whiny douchebag. I think he was very justified in that because I guarantee you McDaniels is behind closed doors just pissing people off left and right.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see Derek Carr in his mirror putting on his eyeliner and being like, fuck that guy. Like I can't like that's where he's at. That was where he was and I think that's where we win.
I like it.
No, I love the Raiders are going to be so bad this year and I can't wait for it. And they picked up Wentz? No, who'd they pick up? This is how little I follow
Jimmy
the Raiders.
G.
Yeah, Jimmy G. Okay.
Which,
look,
if his career in Vegas doesn't succeed, at least he can quit and go be a male stripper. So,
I mean, I would. I've been.
I thought that was your plan already.
I've been recruited, but like the military life, like they're not
right. I thought that was
to,
like you
fine,
retire
fine.
And go into your second career.
Yeah,
stripping.
but I feel like there's an age limit on male stripping because I don't think they want to see like a 45-year-old dude just like taking it all off.
Oh, dude, I'd have you over once a week. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, that tracks. Okay,
this show is quickly devolving.
Going back to Garoppolo though,
how do we still have viewers? People are like, this is good. I'm going to watch this.
Yeah. These guys are awesome.
Love you guys.
Yeah, Garoppolo. I do believe Garoppolo is a decent quarterback. I know San Francisco had a lot of frustrations with him, inconsistencies. He kind of reminds me a lot of Phillip Rivers. In the aspects of like he'll have one great game and then one just like he'll throw for like 400 yards one game and then 3 interceptions the next with like 80 yards.
Like Fitzpatrick.
It's just
he's a Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, it's just super inconsistent, but I think he has the capability to do it. As long as he can get out of his own head. I think that's the biggest part about it.
But you draft him on your fantasy team. Garoppolo. He'll get you 35 points
Garoppolo.
1 week and then 5 points the next. Like that's probably what it's going to be. With the Raiders.
Yeah, I do like Garoppolo, but he has no one. I mean, Devontae Adams is probably rolling here pretty soon and asking for a trade as well. Like at this point, he's like, "What am I doing here?" So yeah, it'll be interesting. If it's like Garoppolo to Adams, it's probably going to be Garoppolo to Adams all season if he sticks around. And then because Josh Jacobs asked for a trade, I believe
he did ask for a trade.
Yeah,
like trade. I don't think he actually has been.
I'll tell you what, if Josh Jacobs is gone, that team that
Thank
was
God.
the team's identity last year.
We can finally beat them.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, we've been 1-1 with them for the last couple seasons, haven't we? Or do we lose both
I thought we
games
lost.
last year?
I think we lost both last year.
Jeez. I know the one game I went to in Vegas, we lost to them, and it was super depressing. However, the fans were much more decent than they were in Oakland, so that's good. Okay. Oh, I'm not caught up on comments are catching up on us. All right, here we go. Roger said on the Pat McAfee show he's playing. Yeah, he intends to play for the Jets if the deal can get done. If the Packers are like kick rocks because you're asking for like 3 first rounds, then that might happen. Did we ever re-sign Murray? Kev, can you look that up? I think so.
I just did, and I didn't see any news of us waiving him or anything. So I think he's still there.
Okay. Let's see.
Especially with the news of Williams, I think Murray's still going to be a big part of the run game early on.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like if it's not done, the deal's in the works. And again, Murray played for Sean Payton, so I think that's a huge part of that whole like deal coming together. Trading Waller, hopes he loses. I think he's already lost the locker room, Jake.
McD back, I love it.
Let's see. Give me just a second. I'm going to turn off the baby monitor.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, let's see. I mean, we're pretty much caught up with comments here, but it is, Ray, the implosion of the Raiders is beautiful. And this is what we were hoping for when we heard the news of Josh McDaniels taking over the Raiders. The press conference, the introductory press conference of McDaniels when he was announced as the Raiders coach, he said, I'm just going to be who I am. And I personally was like, yes, do that. I want you to be who you are because you're a douchebag and you're a terrible head coach. I was like, yes, if you are who you are, the Raiders are going to fall apart. And that's exactly what's happening. I was if I was interviewing him and he said, you know what, I'm going to be myself, I would have been like, dude, I'm not hiring you then because that's been an absolutely terrible thing. I want you to not be yourself.
I also want to revel in the fact that the Raiders are imploding so much they're still paying Gruden because they paid Gruden. They have a 10-year contract for Gruden, and they're paying Josh McDaniels just completely get rid of all of their talent and lose the locker room. And there's got to be an owner somewhere in the Raiders, and I just imagine the old I've been watching Ted Lasso. Have you watched Ted Lasso?
A little bit. I need to watch more.
Okay, so the new episode of Ted Lasso, they got the big David's going to kill me for this because he's a big Star Wars nerd and I'm not. Are you a Star Wars nerd?
Yeah, but Star Trek's better.
Okay, what's the Death Star, like the big circle in the background with the windows. I just see someone in a Raiders facility with that big circle background sitting there crying, weeping to himself. I was like, what did we do? I can't believe we just let it get all out of hand.
The Raiders owner, I can't remember his name, with the bowl cut on his head, little ginger over there.
It just escalated so quickly. We're paying so many people.
I should have been a male stripper.
Yeah. Garoppolo's coming in like Vegas, baby.
Vegas.
Let's go.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Let's see, Chris. Thanks for hopping on. Let's do some closing thoughts, man. We're at the end of the show. I think it's Mark Davis, bowl cut boy. Thank you, appreciate it. And more stars from Clayton. Thank you, man. Let's start wrapping it up. And before we do, guys, remember, one, we love all of you. We're glad you're here. We do this for you guys, the fans. Team Visor all the way. I love you guys. If you're Team Puffball, you're dead to me. Never watch the show again. Just kidding. Don't die over there. Just kidding. I love you too.
Yeah, this is why David can't miss shows anymore.
Exactly. You all can blame David for not being here because that's why it's so unfair. But seriously, we'll let you know. When we go live in the future. It's going to be hit or miss, obviously, throughout the off season. We kind of use this time to recoup and, do our own little hobbies and stuff as we wait for the Broncos to get back. So, it'll be here before you know it. Training camp will be in July, and the draft will be here before you know it. So, we'll be doing the shows and stuff during those periods. And like Jared said, watch out for news of when we're going to do a trivia show, just be able to hang out with y'all, catch up because we miss Broncos country too. So,
I'll tell you what, the reason we do this isn't just to talk Broncos, it's to talk Broncos with you guys. We love your comments. We love chit-chatting with you guys. And the trivia shows are just fun times to just hang out with Broncos country. I think I've said this on a couple shows, and for those of you guys that are just still here watching, Kev and I started this because we've been military And we just realized that, like, man, it'd be nice to talk to Broncos country when we're not in Denver. Like everywhere we've gone, it's like one or two Broncos fans. But I love the fact that we're doing this with you guys. Keep up with us. Let your friends know we miss you guys. Let us know. Like I'm telling you, I like was super stoked for this show because I was like, man, I miss Broncos country. I miss the real Broncos country to have the conversation with. So appreciate you guys. Keep following us, keep it up, and make sure you guys are going after everybody else. Like all love within all of Broncos country. Make sure you're checking out Everything Broncos podcast. Look, I'm not. We don't hate on anybody. If you're gonna talk Broncos, you love Broncos country. Like, let's go, baby. And we
one of us.
One, maybe not so much that. Not so culty.
Sorry.
Hey. But hey, look, we got a lot to look forward to this season. This offseason is going to be pretty hectic. Obviously, we got this offseason's been great. Let's look forward to the draft. Let's look forward to preseason and all that stuff. And we'll be here for it. 6 years running. This will be our 7th. No, this will be our 8th year. We've done 7. This will be our 8th year now. Oh, wow. We're going on our 8th year here, and we don't plan on slowing down. So, look, we're just here to chit chat with you.
We
guys,
gotta start thinking about year 10, man. We gotta start thinking about that.
What about it? Like it's coming
just
up in
what
2
we're
years.
gonna do.
Like
what we're gonna do. We can't just be like, year 10, like whatever, guys. Like we gotta do something special for year 10. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we gotta start thinking about it, man.
Like a cake?
Sure, I like cake.
No, we'll get there. Hey. But yeah, this is
in all
great,
seriousness.
Like, no, this is great. I miss y'all and thanks for everything.
Yeah, definitely. So everything Jared said, I'm not gonna say it all again, but completely agree with it all. Again, just watch out for our updates from the page and whatnot for when we're gonna go live. We'll talk to you about our normal schedule when we get closer to the season. Hey, Clayton, wish you had found us earlier too, but you know what? Better late than never. So just make sure you tell all of your friends about us. Have them give us a follow and everything as well. Make sure you check out our YouTube. It's just $1 million.
Good point. Yeah, it's just $1 million.
Sure.
We can cut Riley Dixon and just do $1 million giveaway.
Make it $2 million. Like that's just a couple.
I love you guys. This is great.
But yeah, I think, look, I am not, and Jared, I said, I don't think you were on the show whenever I said this last, but I'm going to have you hold me to this year. I am not giving any win-loss projections this year. I'm not doing it. I refuse. Okay. I don't want to think about what our win-loss record is going to be. So when we have those conversations, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Kev, like that's like half of our preseason shows.
I'm not doing it. I'm not giving an actual record prediction. How's that?
Okay.
I'll talk about it, but I am not actually going to put down, here's what I think they're going to do, because I've been so wrong the last couple of years. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to, I'm going to be very cautiously optimistic this year and leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I'm with you. I am not going to hold to that. I'm going to make a prediction.
You make your prediction.
I'm okay with it being wrong. I'm okay with it being wrong. Because guess what? There. Both of us and everybody watching is going to be watching every Broncos game.
I might miss a few this year. I don't know. Bye. Oh, I thought he was going to cut me off.
I normally do. I decided to change it up. I gotta.
That's why I was waiting.
Yeah.
But seriously, I think there's a lot of good things here, guys, and get ready for it because this team is on the right path. We're seeing what ownership does to a team when you have good leadership from the top down. And kind of a dig at previous. I don't even want to call it ownership. The Pat Bowlen Trust. I'm kind of a dig at them because no, they didn't have the resources that the Penner Group has. But look, this is true leadership. for an organization from the top down, and it's paying off, I think.
Yep, I think we're there. I think this is the upward swing, J curve. Yeah. Also, before we go, Vic has one question for you. What's your prediction on win losses for this year?
I like tuna sandwiches. They're delicious.
Okay.
You guys should try that. So, no,
Of all
gross.
Hold on. Of all the foods,
You would ask ridiculous things. I'm going to give you ridiculous answers.
First of all, tuna sandwiches are delicious, but I don't think that that's like the epitome of like, you know what's really good? Like a good seafood salad. Like I just like just. Although now
Okay,
I'm hungry.
I need to up my game.
Yeah. Well,
Well, anything else, Jared?
Right. We've gone on long enough. I think we've been there. I just appreciate being here. I miss Broncos country. I miss Broncos talk, and I'm glad we can get back in the swing of things. Look out on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, obviously, MySpace, YouTube, OnlyFans. Make sure you're checking all the social medias to find out when we're going on next. We'll have a couple trivia shows. We'll have a couple off-season stuff for you. The crew's all still here. Yeah, make sure you're checking us out and telling your friends. Tell your friends about us. And we're bringing back, of the people that are still watching, I got to apologize. Like our podcast, we went kind of dark for a few seasons there, and it's my fault. I got really busy. But we're bringing back the podcast. It'll be more consistent next year to make sure that we're bringing you the content you guys deserve. And we'll go from there. But Kev, I appreciate it. Going into year 8, you said?
Yeah.
Holy crap, man. We started this thing 8 years ago.
Yeah, because 2016 was our first season. Well, it was my first season when we started, and then you started with me when we moved it over to a Facebook page versus a Facebook group in 2017. But I was starting in 2016.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's kind of our seventh,
year. But I guess for me, the 8th. The 8th of Orange Weekly, the 7th of it like being a legitimate thing and not just a random Facebook group. So whichever.
All right.
Anyway. Well, guys,
I appreciate
about that time.
In.
Buddy, as always, it's time to end it like we always do on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Hey, take care, guys.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know